Let's be honest, when somebody on Grindr asks to meet up, you're usually expecting one thing. Maybe their house, maybe your house. And if he's feeling fancy, maybe even a hotel. What you're not expecting is for them to ask if you want to meet at a cemetery. And somehow when I said no to that, he didn't take no as an answer and asked me if I'd meet him somewhere else close to another cemetery, which was a bit weird in my opinion. Welcome to another episode of Gay Talk. Welcome to Gay Talk. Yes! I have a really, really strong sex drive, and I am not ashamed to admit that. And I guess that is why I am constantly on Grindr, despite all my viewers and friends telling me to step away from it. Anyway, one night I am browsing Grindr like I do most nights, and there's this very, very tall, handsome guy that slides on into my DMs, and I'm thinking, tonight's my lucky night. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but when a guy is tall, he's handsome, and he has good clothing sense, that instantly just makes me want that hookup even more. This guy was wearing a black Owners Represent Club hoodie. He was wearing black Adidas trackies. He was wearing these black trainers, and it all just matched him so well. I don't know, maybe I got a bit of bad boy vibes about him, but I was committed. So I just judged him by his Grindr profile pictures and just knew that he was my type and that I would like to meet him for a hookup. Now, the good thing about this guy was we clearly communicated before we met not to expect any more. It was clearly meet up, do the hookup, go your separate ways. So this guy was already giving me completely normal vibes. He didn't want to break my heart, didn't want to break my feelings, wanted to make his intentions clear from the get-go. And we started just talking to get to know each other because he wants to make sure that I'm a normal person. I want to make sure that he's a normal person. So we talked for about an hour to 2 hours, and the vibe is fantastic, and there's no red flags there. Now, even though I knew this was a hookup and nothing was ever going to come of it, he was telling me about himself, telling me some stories about his life, and I was still interested because I thought if the hookup goes well, either way, at the very minimum, we will become friends. And that was enough for me. I was actually happy if I would become this guy's friend because he was really, really nice. At this point, there was absolutely no suggestion that this chat was about to become one of the strangest chats I'd ever had on Grindr. So we'd been chatting for a while, about 1 to 2 hours, getting to know each other, getting to know each other's hobbies, what we like to do in our spare time, what we do for work. The conversation eventually went into cars, and even though I'm not good at car conversations, he knew quite a lot, so he just led that conversation. And I think it was like an icebreaker exercise. We both became less shy talking to each other. We were less shy about meeting each other, and to be honest, it was good. It was good to the way that the chat was flowing. So once we got rid of our nerves and our shyness and the chat was running smoothly, we upped it to the flirting chat. And you know exactly what that is. That's where we're talking about what we want to do on the meet, if we have any kinks, what position we are, whether or not there's safe words, whether you like dom or sub, all these different things. So the chat is now on that other level, and we're both in the mood. So because we're both in that mid, we decide that we want to start planning our meetup. Now, I can't accommodate, which absolutely sucks. And I know it's like, it's not fair on other guy to accommodate all the time, which is why I was expecting either a hotel or his house so I can chip in. Do you know what I mean? But boy, was I wrong. How dare I think that we could go to a normal place for our, hookup. He says, do you want to meet outdoors? And I'm like, not really my thing, but I'm in that mood. And if we can find a lovely, lovely secluded area out in the countryside or something, then fair enough. I will probably do it. I get a message back from him, and the first one is, can we not do it in your car? Darling, I don't want cheese strings all over my car, okay? We're not doing it in the car. So he then says, if we can't do it in your car, then do you want to come to the cemetery? I'm sorry, what? Could you say that again so I can actually hear you right? The cemetery? Yes, he was being serious. He wanted to do it in the cemetery, right? Could you imagine all those people that died in the 18th century, souls just watching? Bravo, it's great to see equality and diversity at its strongest. What is going on here? So yeah, I ended up checking that message twice just to double check that he definitely wanted to meet in a cemetery. Trying to understand why he wanted to do it at the cemetery. Is this guy into his history? And if he was into his history, why would you still want to do it in a cemetery? Like, let these people rest in peace, man. Damn. They don't want to be seeing two men at it in a graveyard. Now, obviously, when I found out he was being dead serious about meeting in the graveyard, I got out of the mood straight away, and I was just like, why on earth would you choose a graveyard out of every place possible to meet? I kind of felt, this guy's trying to bury me before he's even met me. Like, what, we're going to prop up against a headstone? Like, how romantic is that? I'll be back for seconds. No thanks. I have had some strange Grindr messages before, but no one's ever suggested a date with a deceased. Don't get me wrong, in this day and age, people tend to hang out at cemeteries. I don't see what the obsession is with it, but I'm not going to shame the guy. It's just not my thing. Did he maybe hang around there with his mates when he was younger and do what teenagers do? Did he just like cemeteries? Was he into his history? And what made him want to have a hookup at a graveyard? Like, that's what was going through my head at this time, and I couldn't really shake it off. For me, it was a bit dodgy. Like, did he not want to be seen that badly? It could just be down to the fact that he wouldn't expect someone to walk into a cemetery at night, and he was that discreet that maybe gave him some reassurance. I don't know, and I'm not going to shame the guy, but for me, it was a turn off. So because I just spent the last 2 hours getting to know this guy and thought he was decent up until the point of the graveyard meet suggestion, I decided that I wasn't just going to chuck that hookup away. After all, I was still in the mood, so I was willing to let him come up with a different location to meet. And he said that there was this wooded area next to loads of houses. It wasn't like on their doorstep, but it wasn't far away. For me, that sounded slightly better. If something was to go wrong during the meetup, there's places to run off to, and it's a secluded area where no one's going to see us. So for me, definitely a better option out of the two. So I remember asking him to send me the location just so I could check it out, see how far away it was from my house. So I opened up Google Maps, zoomed in, seen where the location was, and surprise, surprise, it was next to another graveyard. At this point, I think this man has got shares in graveyards or he's a funeral director. I am completely put off at this point. What is this man's obsession with graveyards? Why do you want to have a hookup in a graveyard that badly? No thanks. Maybe it was a kink, but that is too extreme for me. I don't like to perform in front of an audience. So anyway, this is now the second time in the same day that he's mentioned meeting at a graveyard or near a graveyard. And for me, I can't lie, the mood was definitely flattened completely. But I offered him a hotel. I says he might not be able to afford a hotel, he might live with his parents, he might not have a job, all these different things. So I'll offer to pay for the hotel room and he can just come, chill, we'll hook up, we'll do whatever. But he rejected that. He says, no, I don't want to come to the hotel. Either meet me here or we just don't have to meet. At that point, alarm bells went. Gut instinct was don't meet this guy. Don't know what his intentions were, right? Because it might be the fact that he doesn't want to go to the hotel room because he's discreet and doesn't want people seeing us together. Or it was the fact that he had ill intentions at the cemetery and wanted to meet there to do whatever he was going to do. I don't like to think about the second one. I like to think it was just the first one and he was discreet. Right, so what advice would I give people that are looking for hookups? Meeting strangers is definitely a risky thing to do. I would always recommend now that you meet in a public place. If you're going for a hookup, meet at a hotel. At least there's people around and you feel free to walk out if things go wrong. I think that is an easier way to reduce your nerves as well, if I'm being honest. Meeting at remote locations is so risky, right? Let me give you a situation. You rock up to the middle of nowhere. You get out your car, you jump in this guy's car, or you go out into a field, right? And that guy has something with him. What are you going to do? You can scream, you can shout, you can try and run away. The likeliness is no one's going to hear you for miles. Always trust your instincts. People always go on about gut instincts, gut feelings. It's true. If your body tells you, don't meet this person, don't meet that person. It's as simple as that. Like your body's trying to warn you of something. People say that's cringy thinking that way, but it's true. My gut told me not to meet this guy, and did I meet this guy? No, I didn't. I guess a lesson from myself is when you're in that mood and you find someone attractive and you feel like it's too good to be true and you're going to go meet them anyway because you feel like another opportunity will never arise to meet a handsome king like myself, right? Don't let the attraction override common sense, okay? Don't let it happen. So anyway, like I've said, I didn't end up meeting this guy, but I wasn't prepared to chuck away the chat. We'd been speaking for 2 hours, we'd learned so much about each other, and he genuinely seemed like a nice guy. Just the graveyard thing put me off, and the fact of when I offered a hotel and he wasn't wanting that and he was committed to meeting at the graveyard. For me, I just didn't feel safe to meet him and I didn't feel comfortable to meet him. But obviously our chat was no longer flirtatious, it was just friendly chat. Conversation did eventually die a few months down the line, but that's to be expected when he was originally looking for a hookup and the hookup wasn't going to happen. And there wasn't really a possibility that we were ever going to hook up because he was always fantasized about doing it at graveyards. Maybe he was harmless. Maybe he just genuinely loved to be around cemeteries. I guess we will never know. As like I said, we no longer talk anymore. Maybe that's for the best. Maybe I missed out on the love of my life, or maybe I avoided becoming the next person to be buried there. Either way, I wasn't taking that risk. Where's the weirdest place someone's tried to get you to go and hook up with them? Let me know in the comment section below, because I'm sure one of you guys can beat a cemetery. If you did enjoy today's video, guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it shows me that you guys love the content that I produce and keeps me motivated to produce more content in the future. Don't forget to comment your thoughts below, guys, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Slay? I probably shouldn't do that because people call me camp enough and say that they'll never date me because I'm too feminine, even though I'm not feminine and I'm a masculine man.